My name is Kate Holmes and I'm with the Picton and District Historical and Family History Society, and I'm going to be talking about Abbotsford House. This is the key to the house, which we were given by Mrs. Townsend, who had ancestors who lived on Abbotsford, which was the third grant given to Europeans in this area in 1822 to a George Harper. And he built the house, and we believe he began it in 1824, and after he married in England in 1828 and came back with his wife, he added 2 wings to the house, we believe, as his family grew. Now the interesting thing is that one of the first grants in Picton, then known as Stone Quarry, was to a Major Anthill, and they actually became the first family of Picton. But you can see here, this is a copy of approximately 1841 plan of the area, and even though Major Anthill was the most important person in the town, he's just got a little square for his house, whereas Abbotsford up here has been properly planned out and must have infuriated Major Anthill if he ever saw it. So it was a villa and the first interesting house to be built. The earliest photo we have of it is actually a photo apparently of a painting, and this is possibly a painting from the 1850s or maybe later in the 1870s, and of course this is a black and white photo of a painting, which is really sad. And it's taken from the back of the house and looking towards Picton. But you can see that there's a central block. You can't particularly see the side additions because you've also got outhouses along the back. But that's the earliest photo we have. And then by 1810, this is another photo taken from the front of the house, where you can see there's lots of garden growth by then, but you can see one of the wings very clearly here. George Harper only lived there for a few years. He died in 1841. The estate was rented out after Mrs. Harper left the district in 1843 to various people, and then in 1865 one of the Anthill family bought the whole property, William Henry Anthill, one of the Major's sons, and he remained there until his death in 1905. But the family retained the property until 1952. But during most of that time, the place was divided up into smaller farms. So there are quite a few people who started life on a smaller farm at Abbotsford from the 1860s. People like the Fairley family originally were just tenant farmers until they could buy their land. In the 1940s, it had become the home for the manager of the Burns Exhibition Dairy, which actually had rented space on the place in the 1920s and then came in and were moved out of their suburban area. This is the Davis family who lived at the site in the 1930s and 40s. This is believed to be in the 40s perhaps. By this stage it looks as if a lot of the original garden has gone, but they were there until about 1950. From 1952, the house doesn't appear to have been lived in, and there were great fears in the 1970s and 80s. The first really proper house and surviving house for the area. And we've got some photos taken in 1879 when some young architectural students were doing a survey of the house. And then there was, in between 1979 and 1980, the roof was lost, and that began the slow decay, and the place now is a ruin, impossible to renovate. It's really, really sad. If you found this video interesting, the Society meets in the Wallenderley Library, Menangle Street, every Thursday, and we also have a special family history session on the first Tuesday of the month, and we meet on the first Saturday of the month. If you'd like to come and see, if you might be interested in helping us in any way, we're doing lots of digitising, and we still have lots of paper records that need to be sorted. So we'll hope to see some of you soon.